Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the first episode of Blue Eye Samurai, a series that just released on Netflix a few days ago and captivated me within one episode. So, this series is boasting stunning animation, a fantastic story and plot, and a stacked cast from talented actors giving powerful performances, and so much more. Episode 1 of Blue Eye Samurai captivated me within that first episode. So let's get ready to get started. So before I tell what hooked me about this series, I want to go back and talk about what even got me interested in the first place. So there were some initial pictures that were released on Instagram or Facebook, I don't remember which one, that had me curious, but I was still skeptical. I wasn't quite sure if it was an anime or if it was just regular animation of a somewhat anime-inspired style, and all of that kind of made me unsure with how into anime I've been getting recently. Then I saw the first teaser trailer when it dropped on Netflix's YouTube channel. This is the moment of the trailer that had me. Writer of Blade Runner 2049 and Logan. That alone is all I needed to hear. So from this trailer and those images, I was immediately looking forward to and excited about this series. So for those who may not know and are just checking out this video because you like watching my content, what is this series even about? Well, the premise is driven by a dream of revenge against those who made her an outcast in Edo period Japan. A young warrior cuts a bloody path toward her destiny. So let me go into some more detail on what all that is and share my experience watching this first episode. From this opening, the series quickly honored its inspirations from cultural and film history, whether it is Akira Kurosawa movies or even some Quentin Tarantino, which I will hint to a little bit more later in this video, but it definitely leans into those inspirations while also kind of blazing a trail of its own in its unique style and execution. So in this opening scene, we're given some background information for context of the time period, the culture, that kind of thing, and we learn that we are in 1663. We're in a period of Japan where they've closed off their borders. No one besides Japanese people are allowed anywhere in the country, and any white individual or anyone having white features is seen as an outcast or a monster. So we enter this tea shop and Mizu, the main character, is introduced. She is introduced as this mysterious kind of Ronin character. In this tea shop, a squabble kind of breaks out with a gang leader. She fights in defense of Ringo, a young disabled man who is working at this tea shop, against a gang leader named Hachi. And so she kind of stands up for and defends him in fighting Hachi, and that kind of sets things on their course. From this brief fight, we get to see the fantastic animation that this series boasts, including amazing lighting and style in this animation. Now, despite it being in the animated format, it very clearly is inspired by old school samurai films from Asia. So Mizu continues her quest after leaving this tea shop, is followed by the Ringo character, and comes across a temple where she stops to kind of pray and reflect on the beginning of her journey this far, and this first bit of information that she's been looking for to actually kind of set her on her course. While she's there reflecting, we get a flashback to kind of give some context and character depth to this new character that we're being introduced to. And we will kind of periodically jump back to this flashback throughout this first episode. So we get to see how she was bullied by other children because of her blue eyes, indicating that she was not a pure Japanese person, and how she is taken in and raised by a blind swordsmith. And I really liked his role in this one. He's, that very classic traditional leader and someone who's a master of his trade, and he has so much wisdom that he imparts on Mizu as she is being brought up by him. And he teaches her this art of being a swordsmith while she kind of shares her origin and past with him. So of the 4 remaining white men in Japan at the time of their borders closing, each of these men very vile, and one of them takes Mizu's mother unwillingly, and she is the result of this being taken advantage of and is created because of this evil act. So it allows her to train here with him, not only in the swordsmith, but as a sword fighter and a samurai, and we get this brilliant training montage with her that definitely leans into some Quentin Tarantino and some Kill Bill vibes to it. So if you're into that, I think you'll really appreciate that aspect of it too. And so she continues training and building up her strength and endurance so that she can one day take revenge on these men for what they have done. So Mizu reaches the village and dojo that she is seeking with the information she got from Hachi, and we meet some of the students of this school who give her false directions leading her to a brothel. And at this time, no one knows that she is a woman, and she wears glasses to hide the fact that she has blue eyes to kind of, keep from that becoming an easily identifiable trait. At this time, no one knows that she is a woman. They all believe her to be a man based on her disguise and glasses that she wears to hide her gender and her blue eyes. At this brothel, she's met by Ringo again, who's been following her as he wants to become a student of hers, as he sees her disability of having blue eyes and his of having no hands as a opportunity for them to work together and for her to train him. This is also where we get the first little bit of what I call naughty bits, where Mizu pays for his stay at this brothel for a few days in an effort to lose him, and he is distracted here. We then move on to some other new characters, getting some background on a princess named Akemi, who is voiced by Brenda Song, which is pretty cool to see her do something new and unique. And she's seeking an engagement with Taigen, voiced by Darren Barnett, and the two of them are who I will share on more in a minute. There are others too that I'm sure will become bigger players throughout the rest of this series, but we're just kind of giving brief introductions to them. So far, I've restricted myself to only watching this first episode leading up to making this video because I didn't want to give any kind of spoilers or extra context from my knowledge of anything beyond episode 1, and wanted to strictly focus on this first episode and my thoughts on it. As Mizu finally reaches the dojo she's been seeking, she's confronted again by the same students who led her in the wrong direction previously, and they confront her, still not allowing her to get through to see their master. We get some more excellently choreographed and stylized action as she fights her way through. The fight is brutal and graphic, I will say. Very little, as I don't want to spoil anything about this fight, but it involves teeth in very creative ways. We get a showcase of some brilliant slow motion animation as well, which is always exciting. And then Taigen, who I mentioned before, is notified of her disturbance. He quickly jumps in and combats her. She realizes that he is actually one of the boys who bullied her when she was a child. And now, as the two of them get ready to fight, we get to kind of see how her mind works and how she plans out her fights. So we kind of see inside of her head as she plays out multiple different scenarios to find the right approach for this fight to give her victory. And so we get to kind of see her working through these ways that she might fail in some ways, be successful in others, and finally she lands on a plan of attack. She's able to best him and dishonor him and gets the information that she needs from the master of the dojo, who will lead her to this first white man that she's pursuing. So this pretty much sets up the rest of the season going forward. They do give a preview at the end of this episode as to what's to come for the rest of the season. I skipped it. I didn't want to watch it because I was like, at this point, you have me hooked. I am fully on board with this series, whether it's the amazing animation, the beautiful music, the cultural aspect of this series. I love learning about ancient Japan and the history that is involved there. And even if this is a fabricated story within that, I love historical fiction stuff like this. So I cannot wait to see the rest of this series. As soon as I'm done with this video, I am hopping over to my TV to start up episode 2 and keep watching. I think this is one of the biggest surprises of the year TV-wise for me. From the moment I finished this first episode, I immediately began texting people, telling them they had to check this show out. So I also wanted to talk about it in this video here, kind of giving you an overview of the series. This first episode, hopefully enticing you to want to check it out as well. The entire series is streaming on Netflix as of now, so if you want to check it out, I would implore you to go do so, and you can join me as I continue through the show, and I will probably be giving a review of this one once I finish the series as well, because like I said, I'm absolutely loving it so far. There's so much great stuff about it that I really can't wait to see continued further throughout the rest of this show. So thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. I will see you in the next one.